Hello, FCN. It is me, Plantaid, coming here today with a 1v1 game review. It is myself playing the Kingdom of Naples versus Jacob playing as the Kingdom of Saxony. And I went over there to try to see his general to a nation he's playing, but can't split my face. He's playing Saxony. So starting off, a couple things about the players. Me, I've been playing the game for a little bit. I played some years back, and I took a break. And Jacob's the same way. I played a little bit more games on my return compared to him. This is, I think, his third game playing this time back. Saxony, I would typically say, usually I would say it's a harder nation to play. Saxony relies a lot on its grenadiers. Has very, very good grenadiers. I'll probably put some stats up on the screen right now just so you can see how good they truly are. And usually I'd say that makes them a harder faction because charging is really difficult in this mod. But with how potent those Saxon grenadiers are, it can honestly make them kind of an easy faction to play. If you get that charge off, you can very much roll your enemy. Um, it's all about you as if you're playing against Saxony, not letting that charge happen. Naples is a very underrated nation. They have good artillery. They have all right cavalry, all right grenadiers, and their line infantry I think is around mediocre. Same with their lights. Really, what surprised me most about them is their artillery. Now I didn't bring their super good artillery when I tried out the 6 pounders. They have a very nice piece of 12-pound guard artillery. And I think Naples is a really underrated faction. I like playing them. I can't remember the stats off the top of my head if their line infantry is above average or if their lights are above average. I mostly just play them for their cavalry and their artillery, even though a faction like Russian Guard probably has better in both. But I still like playing Naples, you know. Nice to play the non-meta factions. Pretty basic deployment here. Cavalry up front. I brought a unit of heavy cav, even though people in this update of FCN say that heavy cav sucks. I find use in them. Only one unit of skirmishers. I do have access to some good skirmishers. I just don't find I get that much value out of them. I can't micro them properly. They usually get charged down or volleyed and then just die, so I don't bring that many. Other hand, I brought a lot of lights. Line of chief stuck in here. So lights going first. We're fighting LOC today over this 2-pointer. It's kind of where we agreed to fight over. We're both just like, okay, we're gonna go for this 2-pointer. Nice big warehouse building. A little bit of a bluff here. Forest here, open field here. Kind of an interesting battleground, you know. At least it's not completely flat. So plan was, you know, looks like he spawns a little bit closer to the battlefield or to the LOC point than I do. So I was gonna send my lights in front to try and capture this and set out my cab and try to win an early cav engagement. I brought quite a few lancers, so I was trying to take that pitched cav engagement early on to get early cav supremacy, bringing up my general too. I can inspire a rally cav during the engagement. I know he didn't have any guerrillas, so no need for a cautious deployment as we're marching forward here. And then I brought some grenadiers as well. I also brought a lot of, not a lot, I brought 2 elite and inspired units, just to put one on either side of the line to inspire my men, and then 4 grenadiers. I didn't really bother getting a bunch of grenadiers. One, because it's a 1v1, and so I need numbers, and I can't afford to get the best infantry. And 2, I just know that they'll be outclassed by Saxon grenadiers. So these guys are just to hold the line. Ideally, while my lights shoot the charge, or the charging grenadiers in the side or rear. Maybe speed it up here. Lots of waiting and strategizing. You know, it's a good time if you're actually playing the game. It's a good time to survey the battlefield while your men are just marching up. For us, though, it'll be a very nice time to survey the ground and the beautiful grass in this very old video game. Maybe get a peek at these uniforms. I mean, aren't they beautiful? Yeah. Shout out John, the FCN dev in charge of uniforms. I must say, and Napoleon, they don't make uniforms easy. It's you know, changing stats on a unit is probably the easiest thing about Napoleon modding, but making the uniforms is the whole different ball game. So with making these maps, I believe, yeah, this is an NTW3 map. Very nice. It's what, like Netherlands 3A, I think is the name of the map. It's made by Bolero, I think is the name of the lord who made this map. It's pretty nice. I really like fighting on maps with LOC. Gives you something to fight for instead of just sitting around waiting for something to happen. You actually have to fight for objectives. So this is a good reason to bring 6-pounders as Naples, or really any faction, is that a lot of times you don't get 12-pounder horse artillery. I'm sure there's some factions that do. But 6-pounders are often in horse artillery form, and you can get them up a lot quicker to support your cavalry. Here I'm using the road to make my men march a little quicker, and here we finally see Saxon cavalry. So I can't remember off the top of my head if Saxon has really good cavalry. I don't exactly think of them as a cavalry faction with the cav charge here, but I'm kind of assuming that this is most of his cav. Bringing more cav, any more cav than this would be really ludicrous. And in this update, cav engagements are really decided on how many lancers you have. And so looking at this, I have 3 lancers, he has 2, so I feel pretty confident. I was going to bring up my general for the cav engagement, now he's not here, so I probably should have brought him up closer to give inspiring rallies. So here we go, going in for the charge again. I'm pretty confident in me winning this, and I want to win this early on so I can get this early cav advantage, and I think I can do it because I have so many lancers. So my guard lancers going in against his lancers against his lights. Equal here, good trade there, makes him shatter. His hussars against, or my hussars against his really bad hussars, and then good charge here. And then I still have another unit of lancer and another unit of lights here on reserve. I really want to try to rout or break this unit completely so it doesn't come back like I did with this one here. If it came back and it being a lancer unit, it's very deadly. Here I wanted to tank the lancer charge with my light cav and then use the lancer and then come in from the side here. Now he doesn't get his charge bonus even if he does counter charge. So you lose that light, but I wasn't very confident that if I 1v1 the lancer that I was going to win. And now my 3rd lancer unit coming in on the rear of these lights and just crushing it. And clearly he wasn't ready for this. He has these 12-pounder and it's foot artillery, so it's super slow. He has it very exposed. He thought his cavalry was going to screen it, and then, the cav breaks, and now there's nothing there. So he's trying to run up some skirmishers. These skirmishers really aren't going to... They take time, quite a bit of time to form up, and then aim, and then shoot, so he's not going to get there in time. Tries to get a canister volley off. He gets 1, but my lancers still connect over here. So this cannon is still limbered, and what that means is that if I literally touch it with a pinky, it breaks. So I try to go for those skirmishers there, but the skirmishers form with fire, and then routes them. They'll definitely come back. So yeah, look, I instant kill the artillery because it's limbered. So if this happens to you, I think you're not allowed to unlimber artillery to get invincible frames, because I think that's a glitch in Napoleon. But if you see enemy cavalry coming and you can't escape, it's honestly better to unlimber it and then run the crews off. But that's a lot of micro, and even then, you're probably not going to make it. Looking at the Saxon army here, so light's not in front, or he just only brought 1 light, which would be interesting. You're seeing, some grenadiers, which is what we want to see on Saxony. Again, very good grenadiers. You want to make sure you bring a lot of them. And then a lot of skirmishers, which I don't really see as Saxony. They're not really known for their skirmishers, but skirmishers are very nice, 120 riflemen who can take cover. They're very annoying to deal with, especially if you don't have skirmishers of your own, only have that 1 unit. And they can, I don't necessarily know if I would say they can get value from them. They can, trade very well. But they're good to sit there and pick off enemy units, and they're hard to flush out, which makes them so annoying. So here comes my artillery, and so usually I'd be scared about these skirmishers coming and shooting my artillerymen. In this update, though, counter battery is really difficult, and this is guard, so their guard artillery, so their cohesion is really good. And I also have cav here, so if these skirmishers get too adventurous, I'll charge them down. A very good artillery position here, you see. Okay, this one isn't actually all that great. Kind of trees blocking it, but it's on a bluff. This one, pretty much unrestricted. And right now, so you typically don't want to aim for the units like this. You typically want to manually aim them in front of the unit. While units are moving, I do this because if I was to manually aim them in front of the unit, I have to constantly be clicking, and I don't want to deal with that. Trying to go for the grenadiers early, because the more I can kill now, the less that will charge me later and get some early casualties. That was a very nice artillery hit. Didn't do all that much because, you know, 6-pounder, but still, very nice hit. So, see, he tries to put stakes down here. That's why his skirmishers were lining up in such a long line like that. And then he ordered them to move before the stakes were placed down, so they canceled putting down stakes. I'm trying to move my lance over here to scout out to see where his right is, where my left will stop. And really, I'm kind of wishing now that I didn't sacrifice that light to tank his lancer earlier on in this battle. Lights have really good scouting compared to all the other units in this game. And I don't have that now on my left flank. I only have it on my right flank. Or, I can choose left or right, but I can't have scouting on both flanks, which is very difficult. 6-pounder there, completely misses, covering for my cavalry, which goes in on a skirmisher. Very risky here, so my pathfinding kind of messes up, right? And now I'm just kind of moving in them. And once a unit forms square, they can instantly start firing. So there, he gets grounds off. My men break. His guys are definitely coming back. Their artillery hit there. Again, really square on, but only 5 casualties. That's 6-pounder moment. Forms another square, so they instantly start shooting. They don't really need to aim. Mine come back, which is good, but wasn't really that worth it. Finally, my lights are coming now, and the thing is at this point is that these cannons were super exposed, and 6-pounders don't have very good canister. And so if he pushed this early, I don't have a lot here. I really don't. I'm starting to get there, especially on my left. My lights, I'm trying to go for this LOC. So now I'm pivoting to this forest. But there's really not much here. To kind of just walk up and encircle this LOC that I really want. Not much I could do about it. This forest is going to be super pivotal, right? I have this really nice artillery position, and the forest blocks cannonballs. So if you're sitting on this side of the forest, it gives you some cover opposed to this, right? If you're attacking this side, he also made his men go diagonal, which is makes it better for my artillery crews. But you just get hit with that. That's very, very lethal artillery. I'm also using barrages, 6-pounders, and most artillery in this game with the barrage special ability. So I try to use those early to really soften them up more. Now that I know that I have so much cav superiority, I'm going to try to go for his general. Right? I'm going to try to put cav in his back line, make him preoccupied, and split his micro. So I'm bringing my light over here. And I also want to know how far does his left extend, right? I know he has quite a lot of units here, because if his men are this deep of a formation, right, he probably has more units here, and that's why he's making his units deeper like that. Opposed to here, if his lines are really, strung out, he probably has less units here, and he needs to cover the same amount of ground, so he makes them thinner. So I'm bringing my light cav here, and I'm like, okay, well, is my hypothesis correct? Does he really have less units here? From what I can see, yeah, he really does have less units here. Eventually, I'll see that, and I'll split off a couple of units to go over here, which is what I deem to be the bigger threat. So I wanted to put grenadiers on both sides too, because he has grenadiers on both sides, right here and here. Which is kind of an interesting gamble, usually you'd want to have all your grenadiers centralized, and then you're just one big spearhead through the enemy. Putting them on either side, though, does do the unique thing where now I'm split. So now I have to send some grenadiers here, because if his grenadiers go up against my lights or my line, they're done for. So I need to put grenadiers to mirror his grenadiers, so I can at least do something about them. Here's some good oh, I guess my artillery missed, but I'm trying to, again, go for his grenadiers. Kill him now, they won't charge me later. Pushing up my lancer there, just to make a skirmisher fall back, make him nervous. You don't want to let a skirmisher just shoot at you for free. You want to try to do something with it. Skirmisher coming up here, I'm going to try to counter his skirms. Again, 6-pounders getting in good shots, but not enough. Finally, the rest of my army is arriving. I have this unit in the back, which I guess I'm just not going to move up. Heavy cav general behind this warehouse, so less overshot. And I would usually say less artillery, but it probably doesn't have any artillery. I doubt he'd bring more than 2 12-pounders in a 1v1, because then you would be lacking on men. So he's moving up here. Very interesting. Because maybe he was trying to bluff like an attack here, but I can see how few troops he has, and that my lights will shoot twice and go home pretty much. And then really good enfilade fire here, but again, this forest kind of throws off my men's aim. blocks. So really smart on him to force, you know, if he's gonna attack anywhere, don't attack in front of the cannons. Really good cannonball shot there. You know, like perfect enfilade. Not quite perfect, but you know, really good. And they got like 20. I think that's, yep, finally canister firing. Grape shot. This is where you would really want a 12-pounder. 6-pounder canister is not that good. You know, it's still canister. It still does damage, especially when the men are in such long lines like this. It exposes more of them at once to the canister. But here you'd really want 12-pounders. And my cannons are also splitting them. You know, looking back, I'm curious, you know, if this was in cannon range, would it be better to do double canister, or would it have been better to what I'm currently doing, canistering one, enflating the other? Could be a really nice enflate here. Again, if I was him, like, look, my men are still getting in position, right? I don't want to be so enfiladed to this cannon. I want to do a line from here to here, so then I have less of an enfilade against that cannon. My men are still setting up. I'm not really there. So, you know, kind of a missed opportunity, but when you don't have cavalry and you don't have cav scouts, it's really hard to know where the enemy exactly is at. And canister just laying into his men. My men come up. See, I shift. These guys were originally going here, and I'm shifting them over because I see that his right, my left, is where he's going to probably attack from. And really, I should have seen this coming really early on. This forest is really good for a Gren charge. Not only does a forest block cannonballs, but it blocks musket balls too. And so, although it does make troops slower, right, you can sort of march through the forest, and these lights here, they won't get as many kills as on the grenadiers as they charge, as opposed to, you know, charging your grenadiers in open ground. Finally, kind of notices here how weak my left is, and so he's shifting men, which is smart. So I'm forced to shift here. The men can't shoot and block, so that's why I'm really fine with these lancers. Line bugged out there, you'll have to see that. So that's why I'm fine with moving these lancers right in front of his line, because I know that until they are formed up, they can't shoot. My lights get some good shots off. I should really pull back these skirms. Very close to enemy muskets, and once skirmishers get volleyed, it's not a good day for them. Really, their range is what protects them more than the open order. Yeah, there we go.
Sir! Sir! Our general is under attack!
General attack taking some overshot there. And then this is just, nothing's going to come out of this very unsupported attack. He is trying to snipe out. I feel like I probably should have canistered the skirmishers, or send some cav to deal with those skirmishers. Here's me with light cav in the back trying to go for his general. And, you know, if I had another unit, I could try to charge out these skirms, and there's really not a lot here. Finally, canister coming out. Again, really wish I had 12-pound canister, because it really looks like he's going to try to charge my cannons. I have heavy cav there to prevent it. And yep, here we go. Just hoping I get canister off, and then here's me going in with the lancers and heavy cav. Going to charge, he's definitely going to form square, and see if my pathfinding was a little bit better there. I would have crashed in. Oh, I probably just killed some of my own heavy cav with that canister shot, but still good nonetheless. Good hit shots on the enemy. Still managed to get it. Doesn't help that he shoots into the back of his own men there with the square. And I'm fine with sacrificing these lancers, even though that this probably isn't a great infantry unit. I really just need to give time for my artillery to fire another round of canister. Here I'm coming with my lights, finally dealing with those skirmishers. If the pathfinding was a little bit better, I, you know, killed them a lot sooner. And this is looking pretty bad. I'm sending in an Inspire unit into the line here to try to inspire the most amount of the line, and plus I need men on the line because I'm very outflanked here. And I'm really trying quickly to turn reinforcements over there. Another Inspire unit on this side to keep men high spirits there. And now it's just canister everywhere. Canister on canister on canister. Trying to go for his general. My men are winded now, so they're a lot slower. If he was running his general, he probably could have escaped and put it in a square. I guess he just had to really split micro or something. And then, you know, here's me trying to go for it, and my cavalry unit wants to have tea with him or something. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to interview the general instead, capture him alive or something. I feel like the square also got some of his guys. He's gonna get this off on my 6-pounder, which is not good. Kind of a throw by me, and I really should have sent that heavy cap in front, the tank for it, but I was too busy with this micro. Yeah. He gets that 6-pounder. Good thing I brought 2 of them. Right? And then here my heavy cav go.
Our men are running, sir.
Here he goes with the Gren charge too. So my heavy cav is too busy preoccupied trying to defend dead guns. We're gonna break that. And I should be running these lights. Yeah, there we go. Run the lights out of there because the second that the lights touch the grenadiers, they will explode. I'm probably backcharging my own guys there, but I'm trying to get a charge bonus off of my grenadiers on the counter charge here. And this isn't really the setup you want to see. You want to see the heavy cav tank the grenadiers first and tire out these grenadiers. Right, they're already winded from running down my lights. But, you know, the heavy cav could tank for a lot longer than my own grenadiers could, and then my grenadiers come in and they mop up, because heavy cav in this update really doesn't have the attack stats needed to get kills in, but grenadiers do. So I should have sent in the heavy cav, you know, let them tank the initial charge, tire down the men, and then sent in my grenadiers, because the way that works now, my grenadiers are going to get chewed apart. So I pop a rally. Maybe I pop an inspire here. I know I eventually pop an inspire. Here goes. Trying to go after my cannon, and I get canister off in time. This flank's falling, which is good. You know, I have a lot of lights here. I have a lot of stuff there, so it should fall. And then in the shootout, yeah, I have more on the line, except here, very big. But artillery coming in to save me. Really not a great canister angle, but you know. Better than nothing, I suppose. Yeah, and really bad micro on these skirmishers. I should be pulling these back and putting them in line so they can actually, if you put skirmishers in line as opposed to open order, they'll shoot faster. And these lights also need to reform. Luckily, he's not doing very much with this. You know, he could probably charge these lights. They have literally no stats. So they could very easily charge my line go, but I have more units here, and this line's also falling. So that's a very big loss early. Elites falling back means that these guys can no longer do their inspire, which is a really big loss. You need that inspire. Keep your men fighting for longer. There I go. I'm turning his flank, so I'm gonna try to capitalize off of this. This is looking grim, but artillery. See, I still have this unit back here. I forget about them the whole time. They're just watching the carnage. Would be a very useful unit to throw in here. Charging my skirmishers. I couldn't care that much, really. They're like mostly dead. So whatever. Really surprised how I'm winning this gunfight. I guess my lights are just a lot better than his. Kind of what you would expect from such a melee-focused faction, is that they can't really shoot. Shooting into the back of my mountain men here, not good. I pull back my grenadiers because I'm trying to get my heavy cav to tank. Rest up my grenadiers until they're no longer tired. Once you get onto the tired rank, your men just don't fight at all here. Okay, they break. Hopefully they come back, but once they get tired, they just don't fight well at all. And so you want to rest your men. Mass route here because those grenadiers routing. Luckily, I have reserves and I'm coming back on patio. So you want to rest up your grenadiers until they get, you know, above tired, so winded and above. That way they can actually do damage. What's also not helping too is that he's actually shooting back into the back of his own men, like a lot. These men are on fire at will. They're trying to shoot at my heavy cav, and they're just shooting right into the back of their own men, which is, you know, good for me. That's why he's losing so many grenadiers. Heavy cav doesn't have the bite, but when you're shooting in the back of them, they do. And I'm pretty sure I used an inspire on one of these grenadiers, and I really should have used it on the heavy cav, because once you inspire heavy cav, it will start to get kills. But he committed to that Gren charge, and that was his win condition. Now they all shatter, they all break, and he's losing the shootout because his army just isn't built for that. He did try to Gren charge me over here too. Damn, I can't believe I missed that, but pretty much I just countered with my grenadiers. And these are my 2 best grenadiers, actually, and these are probably his worst grenadiers. Or not his worst, but his second tier grenadiers as opposed to my best grenadiers. So that's, you know, I shattered one. He had 2. I shattered one, broke the other, and they're not coming back. And from here, it's pretty simple, right? I broke both grenadier charges, and now it's just mop up. But, you know, when my grenadiers broke, took 2 to 3 other units there with them, and so it was looking really grim on this side. But that heavy cav came in right at the nick of time, and really him shooting to the back of his own men was also huge. Very big loss there. Doesn't have much of an army though. And really surprising is how, these Saxons, they're good at charging, but they also have really high morale. And so they've been doing this entire battle without, not entire battle, but both Gren charges without a general. And this Gren charge here, it held out for a long time for not having a general. For some reason, my men are blind, I guess. They can't see it. But you can see, gunpowder smoke, muzzle flashes from the warehouse. That's because he entered the warehouse. So I'm seeing in my good grenadiers to clear that out. Now he's trying to reform, no more artillery here, so we can actually go for the LOC. But not enough there, so I'm just letting my lights, even though they're not in a very good line, just let them form up and shoot, because he can't shoot and move. Just target practice here. And he definitely has some very healthy line units there. I'm gonna just come back, so that's good. Has some healthy line units there, but just not enough. Too little, too late. So I have a very healthy line unit, don't I? Anyway, yeah, I just have to form up here in case there's more men here. There isn't, so I'm sending over reserves to fill in this gap here. Sending in my, I'm pretty sure these are like Marine Grenadiers, right? Maybe? Anyway, I send them in. This is just, yeah, regular infantry units, so they have no chance. This light unit, though, which I put here, this warehouse has a lot of windows to fire out of, so my lights are kind of getting messed up by getting shot in the back. Not good for their morale. I'm trying to send in this grenadier to shoot what's like here, down this. Yeah, right here, so I can just shoot the men who are outside the building. He's trying something here. He's just going to go for an all charge or something, but it's, that's not going to work out. You really need, if you're trying to do a charge, you really need grenadiers. Guards to the Marine, or my fingers to the Marine, really working. Earning their pay. And now it's just, yeah.
We have taken a building, sir.
Cook it, broke the unit, and then you just keep on wiping them this side. Oh, no, that's true. And this is why I say Saxony is, I want to say a hard faction, but almost not. You saw how effective that Grenadier charge was once he got it off. Really, I shouldn't have allowed it. I should have pulled back more and tired out the Grenadiers before they even touched me. But even without cavalry support, without artillery support, without a general, those Grenadiers were still able to win the melee against other Grenadiers, right? They're just that good. And makes it very difficult to fight against Saxony, because you kind of just have to run. You see the Grenadiers, you have to run. YOLO now. 2 good volleys, send the Grenadiers back in. There's too few of them now. They don't have the bayonet strength for it. Countercharge my Grenadiers to his infantry regiment. Like I said, usually I would just run, but I know this game's over, so I'm just gonna let my lights, it doesn't matter if I lose these lights, so I'm just gonna let them shoot these Grenadiers, and hopefully the Grenadiers break before they touch my Grenadiers, or before they touch my lights, but if they don't, that's what they do. So just sit there and let them shoot. And that appears to be the battle. Lots of micro, especially in the beginning. Lots of charging for a 1v1, which is, what you want to do as Saxony. Here, he even deployed more men than me. And I lost quite a lot. A lot, too. Over here, Michael's my Lancers. Doing a lot of work. Grenadiers are the Marine Grenadiers. Again, lots of work. Elites. Yeah. And then basic line infantry. Shooting. Another cav unit. Another cav unit. So again, lots of good value back in my cavalry. And then artillery. And then sort by losses, random line infantry, different Marine or different Grenadier unit, Marine Grenadier unit. And yeah, in terms of losses, I had 3 units pretty much untouched. And this light, really rather untouched too, was this one. So yeah, pretty healthy army. Anyway, it was a really good battle. Had me sweating there at the end. Thank you if you made it this far. Hopefully you enjoyed this battle. If you're interested in playing FCN, go into the ModDB page for FCN, and there is a link to the Discord with the most up-to-date download. We're on 9.0.1 now, and it's a really healthy community. We play games, I want to say we at least have 1 game a day, at least. and we're always in BC. We all talk to each other. A lot of the multiplayer guys, we all know each other, so it's a lot of fun. Hopefully this video makes you want to play the mod more. Anyway, thank you for watching. Goodbye.